John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum. Laura joins me because she loves the crazy, nonsensical violence of this John Wick franchise, don't you? And we just got back from the movie. We're going to spoiler talk it right now. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin.
I'm Laura.
And this is our spoiler talk review for John Wick, Chapter 3, Parabellum. Now, you heard that. Spoiler talk. So we will spoil this movie. So if you haven't seen it and you don't like spoilers, put this in your watch later. Check out my spoiler-free review and then come back and join our conversation in the comments after you've seen the movie. You don't care about spoilers or you've seen the movie? Let's just dive right into this.
I've been looking forward to meeting you for a long time. And so far, you haven't disappointed.
I gave it an A-. What is your grade?
See, I go back and forth, but I think I'm going to settle at an A- as well.
Wow. Normally, I always give things better grades than she does. We tied. That's pretty awesome.
I mean, it's not as good as the first one.
No.
And I was telling him, I feel like I like it more than the second one, but I don't love how it ended.
See, for me, it's like a triangle, which is why my ranking was really difficult to do. So you have at the top of the triangle the first one, then the base is the other
it's
two.
It's 2 and 3. It probably depends on your mood. Yeah.
Yeah, because to me, like in terms of action, in terms of fun, they're even. But I think I agree with you. Not that the ending was bad. I don't think it was bad by any stretch of the imagination, but they pushed the bounds of what I'm willing to believe.
Somebody could survive, yes.
Yes, but we'll dive into that here in just a little bit. So as a whole, let's start with you.
Well, let's just start with the beginning.
Yes.
We just jumped right into where the last one left off.
No, and it was epic. The violence, the action.
So he had an hour to figure out what to do, where to go, things. And, and the first fight scene was somebody who found him 9 minutes before the hour was up or something.
That was cool.
And that was awesome.
I'm
like, because
it's gonna happen sooner or later.
He killed him with a book.
A book
With a
and
picture
like a
of his
guy.
wife in it.
Oh,
it was,
gosh.
yes, I'm sorry. I'm like, that is how the movie should start.
And it was actually kind of a gruesome death, too.
Yeah, it was.
It earned its
rough.
R rating right there at the beginning, the way that he just beat this guy up with a book and ended it with the book. I thought it was cool. So he gets stabbed in the shoulder by that guy and then finds the doctor that patched him up in the first movie. So I thought it was cool. Little nod to that character because I did miss the fact we didn't have the police officer coming back. You working, John?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sad. Like, little ongoing things like that, I'm sad didn't quite make this movie.
Yeah, we missed a couple of the ongoings. The officer, but he doesn't go back to his house.
No, he doesn't. So it makes sense.
His house was leveled, so...
Yeah, so it makes sense that he's not there. There was just a small part of me, kind of like that Stan Lee cameo. Just like... I'm waiting for it.
Well, it's like we didn't see the guy who fixes up his car either.
Yeah, I know.
And we didn't see him in a car that he owned.
That's true. So there's a few little ongoing things that didn't on-go in this one. But, I mean, still, it was just kind of cool little nod right there at the beginning. And then the doctor guy's like, well, they're gonna know you were in here and I helped you 1 second past the time. So here's a gun. Shoot me here, but make sure you miss that. Boom. Oh, okay, now... One more shot I'll do up here, but please make sure you don't hit...
this way he won't die, he'll recover with no problems.
Yes, that was just...
But this way it looks like it was a struggle.
And I thought that was kind of like a cool little funny scene. What did you think of Halle Berry?
Well, so Halle Berry's pretty awesome, like how she can fight.
Yeah.
And you can tell that her and John must have some kind of history of fighting together.
Well, he held her marker.
He held a marker because he helped her do basically hide her daughter from her, so that this way she can't
find her daughter and bring trouble on her daughter's head.
Well, it's more the organization can't use her daughter against her if she doesn't know who her daughter is. Hopefully nobody else does. Yada yada yada. And so the whole sequence with their fighting. First off, her dogs are awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Where they went, the person's like, "Oh, I want one of your dogs," and she's like, "No." And so he shot it in its bulletproof vest.
Who was that person, Laura? Who was that
person?
person?
Oh, he was Bronn from Game of Thrones, and he got a deserved death finally.
Yes.
Oh wait, no, he didn't die in this movie. They just shot him in the kneecap.
Okay, well, a deserved shot in the kneecap.
A deserved shot in the kneecap
for trying to shoot a dog.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny. She's like, she says to John Wick, she's like, "He shot my dog," and he's like, I get it.
That was
a good
pretty
scene at the
hilarious.
moment because they just all of a sudden the entire building they're in is coming after him, and now she's going to become a wanted person most likely.
Now, share with our friends what you told me in the car about that fight scene.
One of the things that frustrated me is the movie's called John Wick, not whatever Halle Berry's character's name was. And so that whole sequence, we saw 3 seconds of John Wick, 3 minutes of Halle Berry. 3 seconds of John Wick, 3 minutes. And it was probably not that, but that's what it felt like. So it's like they were trying to showcase somebody else that might be able to take over this in the future.
That's true. But,
Maybe.
I mean, it's an ally of John Wick. So it's to see somebody that is...
Is it an ally?
Oh, sort of. Close. She didn't kill him, and
No,
she fought with him.
that's
so
true.
we'll just say ally.
Yeah.
So it was just, I thought it was kind of a cool way to introduce that. And for me, as cool as Halle Berry was, because she could move, and she did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
The dogs, they won the scene
awesome.
for me. But at the same time, I mean, my gosh, there was a scene where John Wick took a knife, and the camera stayed on it as it went into somebody's eyeball. That was easier for me to watch
That was rough for me. I
than to
couldn't
watch the
that.
dogs go for men's manhoods.
Yeah, that didn't bother me. But
No,
that's probably
okay.
because I'm not a man.
But it's also, it's stunt people, right? That could not have been CGI.
Lots of padding.
And that would... Is there enough padding for that?
I'm
Oh
going
my
to assume
gosh.
so, because they wouldn't have done it if not.
I guess not.
Or maybe it was a woman. That's not neither here nor there.
Point is the dogs added a cool element to that whole
Yes.
fight scene, and they were awesome to watch. And I'm sitting there cringing every time, though, they go for these extras and stuff. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that hurts. I was surprised how short her role is.
Oh, I know.
And it's because of the advertising. Like, I thought she was going to be, like, John Wick's partner.
Yeah.
I'm glad it did what it did.
Yeah,
She
she-
was just in this one little third of the movie and then gone.
Yeah, John Wick had her marker. She fulfilled it. Didn't see her again after that.
After this, we are less than even.
So part of the reason for the storyline, so it started off with all this great action, and then there was like some slow stuff where we try to develop, and the judge woman, I'm like, all these chances they could have shot her in the head, and she was just annoying. I just didn't like her.
I think she was the adjudicator.
That was it. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, Judge.
She was, sorry, I had to look it up. She was
That's
kind of
okay.
annoying. And I was really hoping to get the
I was-
satisfaction of her getting shot.
and
Never
we
happened.
didn't get that.
Yeah.
Instead, she survives and whatever. But that's... I don't like when people survive that I don't like.
Yeah. So, what did you think? Okay, so we got deeper into this crazy, weird world. And it felt like this world went from just some weird assassin world to almost a weird cult world. Because now they have the man above the table,
Yes!
the elder. What did you think of that? And the dude from Wonder Woman.
Well, so he goes up and to Halle Berry's boss, I want the man above the High Council. And so he gives
The high
him...
table.
High table, whatever. And so he gives him clear directions, which is basically walking through the desert until you're going to die. And so somebody picks him up and takes it to this man. I'm like, who is this man? Why is he in charge of this? I don't understand this man's power. And John Wick chops off his ring finger to say that he will give himself back. And the only way he can give himself back is, one, to give him a sacrifice, which is cutting off his ring finger and giving his wedding ring back. And then he has to go kill Winston.
Yes. It's interesting because, so the first one is a revenge movie, right?
Yes.
There's only enough story that you get connected to Keanu Reeves, you feel his pain, and then they kill his dog and take his car.
Yes.
So when he goes on his vengeance fuel and it's nonstop action, you feel justified in cheering him on the whole
Yes.
way through. So just enough story. So the first one is a simple revenge story. The second one is a kind of consequence story. He
Yes.
should not have tied himself to that guy, but once he got called out, all the violence. So not as much story and more about the action. This one felt like the second one in that it's kind of a redemption story because he's trying to find forgiveness. Not forgiveness, but to pay the price so that he could, be
Redeemed, so that he didn't
Yeah.
have a contract on his head, really.
Yes,
So
and he could have full
not everybody
services
in the
restored
world
to him.
trying to kill him.
Yes.
So he gets to the Continental, face to face with Winston, and Winston's like, "Are you going to kill me?" He's like, "You're doing this for Helen, so you can remember her." And he says it's to remember Helen. That's what all of it is about, is so that he can remember her memory.
Which I liked. I thought that was a cool little touch on the story that he wanted to live because he wanted to keep the memory of that happy part of his life alive.
But Winston knew how to play him, saying, well, if you become this killer for the high table, Are you living for her memory?
But in fairness, John Wick came in there with doubt. Like,
he did.
He didn't come in there straight up, I'm just gonna kill Winston. I honestly think he cut off his finger.
So that he could get back.
So he could get back and protect Winston, because there's no way, like, he wanted to fully return to that life anyway. He just wanted to live and keep the memory of
figure out
alive.
how to get out, but
and
there was
the
no
deal
getting
was,
out.
cut off your finger, kill Winston, and then you live for me for the rest of your life to kill whoever I tell you to kill.
Yeah.
So he already wasn't satisfied with that. And so I really think, yeah, he was debating it in his mind a little bit, but he was really on the side of, I'm not going to kill Winston by the time he got there. Yeah.
And then there was Zero. Was that his name?
Zero was his name.
Yeah,
yes.
and so he was the leader of this clan, and they are going after John Wick hard. And what gets weird is he gets to the Continental and he comes in, and then this guy, so they go in because if he would have killed John Wick at the Continental, he would be excommunicado.
Right.
And so he didn't. So he walks in with them and sits down next to him, and he kind of gushes at him.
Oh my gosh. On the one hand, it was funny because it's
weird.
like...
It wasn't funny. It was weird.
Okay, it was a little weird, but, you know, he was a fanboy. He was a John Wick fanboy. This led to some problems in the fight scene as we get towards the end here.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool to kind of see the power of that crazy lady that we both don't like. That she called up... The adjudicator.
Got it.
Who caught up the high table and had the Continental... What do they call that?
Decommissioned?
No, not decommissioned.
Oh my gosh.
Deconsecrated.
Deconsecrated, that
right.
was it.
And so it lost its privileges and lost the ability to be a safe haven. And so
Yes.
everybody had to be taken out. And now Zero could go ahead and kill John Wick there. So it was kind of interesting to see the power of the high table. So like, I think it was kind of cool to see how much power they wield and how in this world people do kind of secretly rebel against the high table. But the high table's actually kind of scary.
Yes, indeed. And then one other thing that we forgot to talk about is you get a little bit of John Wick's past, where he grew up.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I just thought about that because that clan came in and
took
out her people without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Or decimated whoever was on
Well, her
call
guards
that
and
day.
stuff, they only hurt her
Yeah.
hands because she did her fealty back to the high table.
Yeah, and then they sliced right through her hands. But it was, it was interesting to see where he was raised, and then you see the people fighting, and you're like, wait a minute, I've seen John do that move in earlier movies.
Yeah, and they didn't, and I like that they didn't spend a lot of time on it, so
No,
you keep
just
John
enough.
Wick's origins very mysterious,
Yeah.
but interesting to get that he was an orphan, that he was raised in this particular place, this is where he got his training.
This is where he got the start.
And yet he still came out exceptional with high focus and strong will.
Yes.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Indeed. All right, so now we're at the last fight sequence.
And I thought it was cool, number one, to get the Matrix throwback.
Guns. Lots of guns.
But it was awesome to see Winston and the concierge be on Wick's side and to see Wick choose not to kill Winston and make that choice. They go to that safe room, load up on the guns, and then they shut down the lights, turn on what I call the green Matrix lights, and they go off. And I'm telling you, the action sequence there was and you were laughing hysterically, so you must have been having a great time with the action sequence.
Well, there was some, crazy, unrealistic things. A lot of Winston's men stayed, because, Winston is a powerful guy.
Yeah,
he was
a lot of loyal people to him.
He's been the manager for 40 years. So
but the concierge fought.
Yeah, the
that
concierge,
was cool.
I don't know what his name is, but the concierge fought, and probably we saw 10 or 15 of his men, and they all went down right away. They saw him, and the people who were coming in from the high table all had this crazy bulletproof, upgraded clothes. So the first bout of them out there, it's John Wick is lifting up their face masks and shooting into their face. That was probably my favorite scene when I'm you see him and he's he has to shoot him 7 or 8 times to get him down, because it's his jacket, which is bulletproof. It hurts.
Yeah.
But it's not going to do anything. It's getting punched.
So they go back at the armor-piercing rounds, the bigger shotguns, the concierge, and John Wick.
And they're the only two, at this point, that are still alive that are for Winston.
But it was awesome to see John Wick come out with that gun. And what was the coolest part for me is, okay, so the first shot he did, it blew off half the guy's head. It was what?
Yeah.
So powerful rounds. But it was just awesome to watch John Wick, boom, boom, and then hide behind something. And the way he reloaded was so smooth. He just,
it was
and then there he goes again. And then, boom, okay.
Yeah, he's use my gun. Somebody's coming while I reload.
I just...
The action sequences are phenomenal.
You could tell Keanu Reeves spent a lot of time learning all that stuff.
And, the man is not like Matrix young anymore.
No, and he's doing a fantastic job.
Yes.
The scene where they had to point out where he wasn't Matrix young is where he's going up against Zero's clan.
Yeah.
And they're fighting. And this is kind of where it wasn't realistic for me anymore, not because of the action, but because the choices the characters were making. So he fights like the lower level members of this clan, takes them out pretty fast.
Yeah.
Then he fights these higher level members who are also fanboys along with Zero.
Well, they're fanboys because of Zero.
Right. But because they're fanboys, they actually beat John Wick, had him on his back, and could have killed him. But they're like, oh, John, it's just such an honor to fight with you. So they help him back up to keep fighting. And I'm like, okay.
And they even make a joke about him, be like, he's not as fast as he was. Like, he was retired for 5 years.
But then it was cool because then John Wick takes off his belt and...
I know, and you know what I thought was, so he's fighting with his belt in between, so it's helping him. And all I could think when that moment was Doctor Strange, because that's the Doctor Strange.
When he did the magic and
magic wand that way.
Yeah. No, that whole sequence was just kind of cool. It was just infuriating to me because it's like, oh my gosh, guys, because they were such fanboys, they just wanted the fight to keep going, just for the joy of fighting the legend. And I'm like,
but I will say the one thing I liked is at the end of that scene, John Wick got the drop on him and could have killed both of them. And he didn't. He just said, I'll be seeing you. Because I figured he's like, you know, I don't want to say an eye for an eye, but it's basically they didn't kill him when they had the chance, so he's not going to kill them when he has. And so that's when he goes up to fight Zero, the head honcho.
And that was a really cool fight sequence. I enjoyed that, but it kind of suffered the same problem where Zero is a fanboy, so he kept showing...
Yeah, he was like taunting him and and then when he got tired, John took him out.
Yeah, and so it's like, it's one of those things where it's cool because they're fanboys, so you watch John Wick's mind work and his skill and talent dive in, and he takes advantage of the fact that they're fanboys. But for me, there was something like you said earlier, it was kind of weird when he was sitting on the couch next to John Wick just gushing. And so it was kind of weird watching this guy be such a fanboy even during the fight. But then when John Wick like sliced one of his arms and it stopped working, it was like...
Oh, he sliced all his fingers off.
Oh, was?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he sliced a tendon and his entire
remember he
arm
went up
stopped
and the
working.
entire fingers were off, so then he made a fist so he could fight with the other hand, and then he stabbed him through the heart.
Okay, well clearly I missed that. That makes that even cool. Anyway.
Tripping and everything. I thought they were going to do something like, oh, look, I lost a finger, you lost all your fingers. But they didn't do that.
Now we get to the ending, and what was weird about the ending was Winston's turn on John Wick. His repentance back to the high table.
Let's just start. They're doing a parlay because John Wick and... basically John Wick took out all the men that were there.
Because he's John freaking Wick.
And so the adjudicator or whatever, she was up there saying, okay, let's talk. This is only wave 1 for us. You think this is it? You know? And she realizes, like something clicks, that Winston wasn't necessarily trying to beat him. Winston was trying to show his power of what he can do. And so she sits there, he's like, I want to be back in control. And he wants to be consecrated or have the Continental consecrated again so that it's a safe haven. And so she looks at him and she's like, okay, done. So this is the part that... So what's to be done with John Wick? John Wick gets up there and Winston just looks at him and is like, he needs to die. And he shoots him off the roof.
I mean, John Wick is wearing the bulletproof suit.
And he doesn't shoot him in the head or anything else, so I think he's hoping he'll survive.
But it's one of those boom, 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 boom until John Wick goes off. Now, look.
At least 5 stories hitting fire escapes, risers, and the ground, and other stuff. It was like when the guy falls off Titanic and hits the pedestal and then goes flipping that way. There's no way you survive that.
So, and that was my... So, yeah, okay, so these movies ask you to just accept a lot and believe a lot, but there's also a certain groundedness to John Wick.
Yes.
So, it's not that I minded there was this weird twist, and Winston wasn't against John Wick, and that perhaps...
He just needed to make him disappear in a way that asserted his power.
Exactly, and perhaps John Wick was in on that, but even being in on that...
I doubt that.
Falling down that far, bouncing off stuff, it's like... I don't buy it.
No.
But then the other thing that was interesting, and I'm kind of curious about, is now I know it's not going to be a trilogy. There better be a 4th one.
There has to be.
The way we end with Lawrence Fishburne, the Bowery King, still alive, cut 7 times by Zero. I mean, deep cut. I thought he was dead.
This man could survive some cuts.
It was a surprise to me that he was alive. So I kind of had to just accept that.
So you see John Wick being pushed by one of his homeless minions to him, and basically they
We're gonna go against the high table.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I
good.
think they're coming to take him down.
Because the high table's kind of, an idiotic bureaucratic thing in this really weird
I already
world.
think the new high table is... I think the man above the high table is going to be John Wick.
Oh, yeah, he's gonna kill
And then...
Yeah.
All of his, head honcho friends will be high table people. So, Halle Berry, Lawrence Fishburne, Ian McShane. At least those three. I don't know.
And they're going to do this world right.
Yeah.
With honor. I don't know.
No, they're not. But John Wick will be able to retire in peace because he'll be the man above it all. That's what I think is going to happen in the next movie.
And you know what? I would add to that, but there's nothing to add. Because I think that, too. I just feel like the reason we met this elder, this one above the high table, was so we know it exists. Why do we know it exists? Because John's going to take the dude out. I wouldn't be surprised if John takes the dude's place and sets some new rules in motion and then retires.
Agreed.
I just would not be surprised to see it go that direction for John Wick Chapter 4 Parabellum 2 or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't...
So
we will see.
I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to a 4th installment in the John Wick. I'm giving it an A-.
I give it A- too. I'm still sticking with that.
Yes, and I cannot wait to own this on Blu-ray and just add it into my rotation of
those
watching.
fight sequences.
So
That'll be
come
awesome.
on, Keanu Reeves. Let's get that exercising going. Keep it all fresh with the shooting, and let's do a John Wick 4. Start filming that thing tomorrow. I want to know what's going down.
Yes.
All right. And hit that subscribe button so you know what is going down here at Durbania. And hit the bell by the subscribe button so you're notified for our next movie review, ranking video, theological analysis, or anything else we do here. I'm Durbin.
I'm Laura.
Thank you for checking out Durbania.